Hello, welcome back to How to RV. I am Jason, and today I wanted to talk about the plugs on our RV, or at least the plugs that come with the surge protector and the plug that plugs into the camper. So I just left a campground and I had a problem, and I wanted to share this with you because I'm going to try to remedy it. So what I had is the plug here plugged into the surge protector, and when I went to take it apart to put it all away to come home, I had an issue with trying to get it apart. The reason is because the prongs here are dirty, and inside of here they are dirty as well, and they are sticking really hard. And because of that, when I tried to pull it apart, it was almost impossible. I had to grab this end right here, and on the surge protector, this little tab, and when they're connected together like this, and I have to grab it and pull it like that to get it apart, it wouldn't come apart. It took me forever to try to get this thing in a place where I could put it into storage and go to my next destination. So today we're going to try something. I've never tried this before, but we're going to give it a shot to see if we can help this situation. All right, now we have everything in front of us. There are a few components we need here, and I want to talk through those real quick. One is dielectric grease. You're going to need dielectric grease. Don't use regular grease on the prongs. We'll talk about where we're going to use that in just a minute and why. But use dielectric grease only. The reason for using dielectric grease is because it is non-conductive. Regular grease can be, and this is the reason why you want to use this. The other thing that we're going to need is sandpaper. So we're going to want to clean up the contacts on here and inside of here if we can, and get all that nice and clean. And before we get started on all that, we're going to use contact cleaner in order to get all the crud off just before we get started. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put everything to the side, and we're going to start with this end of the plug first, the male end of the plug. I'm going to take our contact cleaner and go ahead and spray a little bit on here. Go ahead and get all this nice and cleaned up here. And what it'll do is kind of etch everything off of it. It won't get it completely clean, but it'll at least get all the contaminants off of it so that we can get to where we can sand on it. So when you buy one of these new, these prongs will be nice and shiny and copper colored. Mine have gotten a little dark over time, so what I'm going to do is clean them up a little bit and get them all nice shiny again. That way we had a good clean surface to work from. Now you can see here with the prongs all nice and shiny, kind of like it would look if it was new. Now before we move on to the next step, I'd like to ask y'all a question. These little prongs right here, they have holes in them. So leave down in the comments if you know what those holes are for. Not really sure myself, but I'm sure some of y'all out there might know what they're for. So what are these holes in these prongs for? On to the next step, I want to go ahead and clean the inside of these prongs the best I can. So what I'm going to do is take a piece of sandpaper and I'm going to fold it up so that I can get inside of the slots and try to clean those up. Alright, now that I have this cleaned up as best as I can, and this as well, I'm going to go ahead and take the dielectric grease and I'm going to put it on each one of these prongs right here, and then plug it into this right here so that I can see if all this works and makes it easier to get apart. I'm going to take my dielectric grease pack and open it up a little bit. Squeeze a little bit of the stuff out of it and put a light dab on each side of one of these prongs. Get it all nice and greased up, and then I'm going to go ahead and plug it into here. So what I expect to happen is it's not going to be really easy the first time, but it should get easier the next time after that. So we'll go ahead, plug it together, pull it apart a couple of times and see what happens. So that worked out really well. So I'm going to go ahead and take my rag here and kind of wipe off the little excess grease. I might put a little too much on there, but I'm going to go ahead and get all this cleaned up a little bit. Wipe it down just ever so slightly, not to remove all the grease, but kind of get the excess off of it. And go ahead and plug it back in one more time. And now you can see it's much easier to get apart than it was before. So like I said before, all you need is a little bit of contact cleaner, some dielectric grease, and a little piece of sandpaper to do the job. And it is a lot easier. I know I said a lot twice, and I meant that for a reason, because it is a whole lot easier When I tried to pull this apart earlier, I swear I was trying to pull a freaking shoulder apart. I swear it was not easy at all. I had to really, really work at it to get it apart. Now it comes apart easy, and when I plug it together, it wouldn't fall out of the socket when I plug it together like it would if there were some kind of defect or something like that. It goes together and stays together like it should, and when I want to get it apart, it's easy to pull apart and not try to hurt myself. As for the dielectric grease and the contact cleaner and the sandpaper, I just went to my local auto parts store and bought all this stuff there. Usually these little packets here is all you need, and if you go to the counter and ask them for dielectric grease, just tell them you want the little packet, then you can get these fairly inexpensive. If you ask them for dielectric grease only, they're going to take you and get you a big old tube. You don't need that much, just a couple of these little packs. I know it'll do you. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and go do the rest of my plugs and get all those situated and together. And I hope you learned something off the video. Leave some comments down below on what you thought. And like I said before, if you could tell me what the little holes in this prong are for, I'd much appreciate it. So until the next time, keep your electrical components working correctly, enjoy your camping trips, and God bless.